Welcome to Allworx phone training provided by WheelHouse Solutions. My name is Marty, and today we will be talking about the display or the screen of the phones that you have in front of you. And so, welcome. I hope that you have a training guide in front of you. If not, we do have some information we'll be showing on the screen. So, if you don't have the training guide, you will be just fine. But if you do have the training guide, we will be looking at page 4 of that guide. So in a previous video, we went through the buttons on page 3 and how some of those buttons interact with the screen. And so now we're going to talk about the screen itself. And so here you see on my screen a picture of a typical Allworx phone. Again, I mentioned on a previous video that whether you're on a 4 or an 8 or a 12 button phone, they all look mostly the same. The screen might be slightly different size on a smaller phone, especially the 4 button phone. But for the most part, the functionality on the screen is exactly the same. And so on page 4, section 4 there, the phone status area, which is the area at the very top up here, is what we're going to talk about first. And one of the things you can see on this is you can see the date and time. You can also see some other information at the top. For instance, if this is if you do have a 12-button phone, it does have the capability to connect to a Bluetooth device, much like your cell phone connects to Bluetooth devices. And so if you were on a 12-button phone and you were connected to a Bluetooth device, you might see this little Bluetooth icon on the top. You can also, using Interact Professional, you could actually control this phone. And so if you did have Interact Professional running, you could see that by seeing this connection. Also, if you're running Allworx Reach on a cell phone, you will see that connectivity. So, all right, but just focus up here at the top. Here, the first thing you see is in office. And so what that means is that's the current presence. And we're going to talk a lot more about presences in another video. But in this case, at any time you look at your phone, you can see what your current presence is. So this phone is in office. And so there are other presences like away and busy and things like that. And if you change your presence, your phone status will also change. And so if you were in a meeting or something like that, the color of the bar at the top would change. And you can see that in your book on page 4, but it would turn yellow, for instance, if you were in a meeting. And so at a quick glance, you could look at your phone and tell it's not this color and know that, oh, something is up with my phone. Because if you're not in office, then your phone probably is not going to ring and you're not going to be able to receive phone calls. So that is important information there. Below your current presence, it shows the name of your phone. So this phone knows who it belongs to. It's been assigned to a specific user, and that user's extension is right beneath that. So in this case, this is Jane Smith's phone at extension 3850. And you might have a 3-digit extension, or maybe you have a 5 or 6-digit extension, depending on how your phone system was programmed. But in any case, if your phone happens to break, you can't go in the middle of the night and swap out with your neighbor, because now you're going to have an identity crisis, because your phone knows who it is, and so does theirs. So you can't swap out phones. To the right of that is a picture of a phone with a little number in red there. And if you have a missed call, that's what it would look like. So in this case, this phone has 1 missed call. Below that, there's an envelope that's showing you have voicemail. How many new voicemails? Well, this caller has 4 new voicemails right now. So I mentioned in another video that your message button will light up when you have new voicemail, but you can also look at the phone and see that you have voicemail and how many new voicemails you have. All right, so below that are these call appearances here on the right. And let's talk about call appearances. And our very next video that we're going to do that's going to talk more about the basics and how you use the phone, we'll talk quite a bit about these appearances. But in a nutshell, every phone has either 2 or 3 or maybe more call appearances. And what that means is if someone called me right now on an idle phone, the bottom right button, that little phone icon on the bottom right, would actually show you the caller ID information on the actual call appearance that is ringing. So when first call comes in, you would see that call come in on this area here, and this button would be blinking to show that you have an incoming call. If you were talking to someone on this call appearance and a second call comes in, it would, as long as your phone is programmed to the default settings, that call would typically come in as a second call appearance on this next icon here and would be ringing or blinking here on this call appearance. So in this case, this phone has 3 call appearances. So I could be on or have up to 3 calls on hold, or maybe even merged together and talking all together at once in a conference call or things like that. And we'll talk more about those features and functionality in the next video that talks about the basics. So we'll get into that a little bit more. But that's what call appearances are. And so other than that, there's a lot of other things that you can program these buttons to do. You program them to be Allworx speed dials or speed dials to other Allworx phones. And so in this case, that's what this top one is. This Gary Brown is another Allworx user. And if they've uploaded their photo, then you can see a picture of their photo. You can also see that their presence is currently not in office. If they were in office, this light would not be on. This would be normal color, and this icon would not exist. But because Gary is currently set himself to do not disturb, we can see that he's in do not disturb. It lights up here, and it also lights up on the button next to him, so it knows I can't call him, or even maybe try to transfer a call to him. I can't do anything like that. So we know this is an Allworx user because of this little red triangle here up in the top corner. Let's say someone took the opportunity to store a contact like mom into this phone. So if this person stored a personal contact, a speed dial to their mom, they could program this button to be a speed dial to that personal contact. You could also look at an Allworx phone and tell any other presence that they're in. So that's what this is highlighting down here. So this person is in a meeting or I think this is an in a meeting icon. And so you can tell that that caller is in a meeting. If you want to know what these different icons are, if you look at the bottom of page 4, we do show you all the different icons there. All right. So that concludes talking about the screens and all the different things you can do with the screens. Again, I mentioned on a previous video, but they are nice color displays. They're not touch screens. And so to interact with those screens, again, you would use the soft keys at the bottom and the navigation of the up, down, left, and right navigation on the right to interact with the screen. But I think you'll find that it's very user-friendly, and hope you enjoyed this training. Thank you very much for joining.